Well, hello,
Well, hello,
Combat
combat
Crew,
crew.
and welcome to the most difficult video I've ever filmed. I may be retiring from the channel, and today I'm going to thoroughly explain why. So, for those of you who wanted to know, then here's a thorough explanation of the life of this channel, everything we've been through together, and the struggles along the way. Some of you are already aware of this and have left heartfelt messages of support and stories that I'm very thankful for. Even the Super Zeros did.
For
I am kind
real.
of reading off of something because it has a lot to it, but at any point in time, if Anthony would like to interject, then he's welcome to. For almost
I'm here with you guys for a lot of this too, because I don't know the full extent of why he feels the way he does. And we've been apart for some time,
Mhm.
since years and years ago. We moved out of states, and now he's out of the country, even further away. So our time to catch up is literally film session, film session. So
Absolutely. So, yeah, this is for him too to get more information about, how I feel and what I've witnessed in the community along the way. And so let's just get right into it. For almost 12 years now, many of you have known me as Sub-Zero and almost 100 other characters. But today I need to be real with myself as Ryan and explain how this journey is worn on us and why after all these years I may need to move away from exclusively making Mortal Kombat content and open the door to other opportunities. My story's long, but I believe that many of you will find it to be eye-opening, illuminating, and serve as a warning and explanation for those hoping to make Mortal Kombat content exclusively or for our channel to have that exclusive focus. In order to explain this, I'll need to start from the beginning, and I encourage everyone that has any interest in understanding the culture of this community and our experiences to join us on this journey through the past and the present. So without further ado, it all started when I was about 6 years old and the Super Nintendo gaming system was still fresh in every child's mind.
You are about to experience the future. Never before have you had to cope with advanced 3D graphics.
For me, it was a way of distracting from the bullies at school who'd made fun of me for opening my mouth and showing the yellow teeth I was born with, through a tooth disorder called ameliogenesis imperfecta. Every day I went to school, I'd be confronted with the reality of being made fun of for smiling, laughing, or simply speaking, because the color of my teeth made kids think I didn't brush them. The dentist and my parents told me to explain that the disorder meant no enamel was on my teeth, which is white, and the absence of which led to them being yellow. But kids are mean, and every one of them had trouble understanding and continued to think of me as gross and judge me from afar. It affected me greatly, to the point that at a young age I started suppressing smiles and laughter, and am still to this day relearning how to. When I was young, I wouldn't brush my teeth, so my mom did, because I wanted to have dentures instead of the yellow teeth, and never took care of them because I felt like, what's the point? They're not going to turn white eventually. You'd be surprised how much of this reasoning for brushing our teeth revolves around them not turning yellow, and the stigma and judgment attached to them being so. Hence why most villains have bad teeth. Later I learned how much wearing a mask gave me confidence because of this. And back at home, my dad did heroin and other hard pharmaceuticals all throughout my upbringing and was regularly abusive toward my mom, sister, and I. As a young boy, he constantly reminded me that he was going to die soon because of hepatitis C, and I felt like his therapist while the crazy drug-induced manic episodes led me to regularly fear for both my mom's and my life. Being worried about what would happen to her, I stuck around, but the mental abuse deteriorated us both over the years, and it's still something we're fighting with. Those of you with drug-addicted loved ones know this fight all too well, and I'm sorry if this conversation is causing you to have to relive bad memories. When I'd stay home from school because of undiagnosed sleep apnea, my dad would yell at her for hours on end about how useless and worthless I was because he didn't want me to be home when he'd shoot heroin. This is where the suicidal thoughts began for me. Suffice to say, when I discovered Mortal Kombat 1 in the video game rental store called Royal Video, I'm sure maybe even Anthony remembers that one,
a
I
royal.
instantly identified with the masked ninjas and found it to be a way to distract from the depressing thoughts as a child, and even an outlet by besting the other characters in the game. For these moments, I'll forever be thankful to Boone, Tobias, and the rest of the Mortal Kombat team, including the actors. for bringing to life something that allowed me to cope through a hard childhood. I'm sure there are many of you out there that can identify with this and feel the same. Right after renting Mortal Kombat 1, I immediately traded a bunch of my Super Nintendo games for almost nothing to get Mortal Kombat 2. And became attached to Melina, Baraka, and the other masked ninjas for embodying the sentiment of how I felt. With Melina, she still managed to be attractive while having hideous teeth, and which made me an instant fan of hers. And the others showed me how strong they could be even if their faces were concealed. No need to have perfect teeth. Around this time, Anthony would come over every summer from California and we'd play Mortal Kombat 2 and Ultimate 3 together, and play fight as the characters in the front yard, kicking trees, fighting imaginary friends, and hiding from cars. At the time, Rain was my favorite character to play and pretend I was, and though we mostly button mashed when we played the games, it was a terrific outlet for the pain I felt at home and at school, and the oddball characters were ones I aspired to be like. It helped that Anthony and I were also obsessed with Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan films and would practice martial arts on pads at his place when he finally moved up to Oregon a few years later. Every time I'd come over, instead of constant fighting, I'd hear and see nothing but peace and tranquility, and Anthony would always have new printouts of judo, aikido, taekwondo, karate, and other martial arts moves he'd like us to practice on each other. So I can without a doubt credit the culture of Mortal Kombat, martial arts films, and my cousin for getting me into fighting sports, but I could hardly keep up with them being almost 4 years younger. And some of the training, like kicking trees with your shins and smacking forearms after each sit-up, made me want to give up. But it's where we both developed respect and admiration for the pain and sacrifice that these disciplines often go through, which developed into a love for professional wrestlers at the time like Mick Foley. When I was 14 and feeling suicidal while going through mental and physical health problems related to my teeth, sleep apnea, other sleep disorders, and the loss of all my friends, including my best friend, to meth, my cousin and I began backyard wrestling to try and gain respect and prove our worth. We weren't trained properly, and the only real wrestling tips we'd learned had been from Tough Enough, the reality TV show where wrestlers were trained in an awfully theatrical way. So when we landed on the hard ground,
Spear. Basic time back. Super.
And hit each other with ladders, chairs, fists, and other objects. The pain we endured was long-lasting, but for me it was an addiction due to my hatred for myself, which was furthered dramatically because of my isolation from friends and the constant berating from my father calling me worthless and threatening my life for staying home from school so frequently and for defending my mom. I didn't know what was wrong with me, but I was always tired. It wasn't until I was 19 that I got a sleep study and found out it was because of sleep apnea. And eventually I got jaw surgery. And the social anxiety at school because of my teeth and breathing issues was making it hard to go and make friends. Because of the bullying, I convinced myself if I had a future purpose and value just to survive, that one day I'd be able to prove it. I failed most of my classes, and because of breathing problems and shyness, I would often say dumb things when called on in class and stew on them after. I wondered why I couldn't ever say what's on my mind. Anthony had been practicing stand-up comedy at the high school that we both went to, and after backyard wrestling, we filmed Saturday Night Live-like skits that we showed to our moms. These clips dictated our style in 2009, and I really wanted us both to make it, as I thought we were creative and could do better. So we made real-life skits that were hard to muster up the courage for at first, but didn't really find success until beginning our Video Game Flaws series. I'll just stop here in case you did have anything to add to that introduction there. Is there any thoughts that you have from our upbringing of how that kind of all played out?
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of memories right there.
Just flooded you with memories.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically that. It was when you're a kid, the number one question an adult asks you is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Right? What do you want to do?
Uh-huh.
And when you're a kid, you know. That's the only time in your life you know 100% what it is you want to do. And later on that changes, you lose it. And this kind of medium was a way for me to get all my goals that way.
Mm-hmm.
At once. And so what I always said, well, what do you want to be? I wanted to be a stuntman. Ooh. Let's see what Two Steps does. I wanted to be a superhero.
Today we're gonna be having none other. What the hell just happened? Wait, hey guys, the Flash. I am the Flash. You can call me Flash. My friends call me.
Or I wanted to be a stand-up comic when it made people laugh.
Okay, so just this morning he punched his Rice Krispies because he said they were talking trash.
They were! I poured the milk in the bowl. I distinctly heard them say, "Snap, crackle, fuck you." What?
Entertainer, and YouTube eventually became the realization of those things. Hey, I'm getting, even if it's not a lot, I don't care. It's that I am able to do that thing that I wanted to do, and achieve those goals, and still I keep my day job that I don't like so much. Mm-hmm. But just to have both of them, as one is the vice, one is the thing you have to do to get the bills paid.
Yeah, I when I think about it, like all of the things that were aspects of your nerddom, and like you had lots of target practice related things you sharpened, even like
I devoted like 2 years to shuriken jutsu, just throwing whatever object would stick in a wall into a wall.
Yeah,
anything. Paper clips will actually go into walls if you practice hard enough.
Yeah, I remember learning that from you, and I think that kind of went right into your Scorpion character.
All right, it's projectile throwing time. Are you ready? Are you sure you're ready? Because you never know what enemies could be lurking around any corner. Look at this Devora! Get her!
It's just jumped right in there along with several other aspects. So, yeah, it is the embodiment of our childhood dreams in many ways. Yeah, then we got into the Video Game Flaws series. We created Video Game Flaws Resident Evil 2 first. And
first,
that's another,
because that was your passion.
Yeah.
At the time most.
Yeah, it's a game that I used to cope and distract from, different things in childhood as a kid. And then after that, we did Mortal Kombat.
Right. Okay, stop. All right, why do you have to cannonball me every single time the round starts? Could you maybe mix it up by putting maybe a fly kick in there or something? Or perhaps maybe an eye laser. You do that too. Shoot! Oh no, bitch!
Which was your
and
baby.
That smashed. Yeah, that was like, what is going on with those numbers? And when you start out of YouTube, when you're doing something, you can do it one or two ways. You can know exactly what you want to do, exactly, and you want to do that thing and show other people that that's what you're doing, and you run with that, and either you fail and you don't care, or you have to change what you're doing because YouTube says you have to.
Mm-hmm.
The other way to get into it is to kind of be in this gray area where we just picked the name Bizarrely Funny because we didn't know what we wanted to do, but we wanted it to be funny. Understand?
And weird.
That was it. That was the whole reason. So I wanted to get the stand-up thing out and wanted to be funny, but what is it? When you're young, even stand-up comics that have been doing it for 40 years, that question of what is comedy, what is funny, is still elusive. It's very hard. It's different for every person, every set of eyes. So, for me, to do this, and find out that Mortal Kombat was the thing that got the most traction, like every other YouTuber that sees the thing, I got to do more of that.
Yep.
And you jump on the train and you ride those rails, and if you get off, you're risking starting over. You're always risking losing whatever traction you had because no one will watch those things because you're famous for the first thing that they saw.
Yeah, not only did we grow up on those games and we're really into them, but we had fun filming that first skit, the Mortal Kombat parody. And that's when we had the realization, before we even saw the success of it, we went, hey, this could be something. But then once we saw how it did, that just confirmed that. That just made it to where that's what we had to do. And we had so much love for Mortal Kombat, and it was extremely successful on our channel, as he's saying. So we decided...
As the channel. And I'm the channel, but I very firmly remember, very strictly, to take something that has such a cult following like Mortal Kombat is, and it is very, in itself, it is lunacy. It is so silly, and it takes itself that way, but a lot of aspects of it are serious, and other audiences that are like adult and this is hardcore, this is, serious stuff, lose it. And so we made the mistake of posting to Mortal Kombat forums, parodies of their beloved Mortal Kombat, and they took it the wrong way and they hated us. They hated us so much. YouTube went somewhere, but going the other route, it didn't. It's a hard community to land in.
And here I had mostly blocked that stuff out of my mind. Yeah, that was just like, those were some hard critiques that we got from some people. But then again, you can understand too, here we're just making accounts. We hadn't really existed in those communities. And then we're just like, hey, just look at our stuff. There's a kind of a respect, give and take thing that we weren't kind of following. So yeah, then we turned it into a skit series.
Hey, Scorpion, do you know how long it took me to get out of that room? Oh my God, my eyebrows! Holy hot pocket! Hey, come back! I just filled up the hot tub!
Around that time, I became friends with Dashi due to our parody roots, similar parody roots, and we used to speak together on the phone about ideas, and though we don't speak anymore, I'm certain that he's still a great person to this day.
Bizarrely Funny, what's good, my boys? Damn, I missed y'all.
In my spare time, I produce...
Shout out to my boys, Bizarrely Funny. I see y'all, and I like that y'all keep doing the Mortal Kombat videos. I got a new one coming up soon-ish.
Before starting our series, we contacted Warner Bros. To ask about how we could do parody without causing them problems. Never heard anything back. Early on, we were able to get a YouTube partnership, which was hard to get at the time. Oftentimes, our videos wouldn't get ads because there was this small box with a little character limit to prove that you had the rights to the songs and content you were using. And then, our peanut butter and jelly sandwich video got ads removed for the finger flick because there was the blood effect to emphasize how over-exaggerated blood can be in the games.
I got news for you guys. Your face, as soon as I touch you, blood's gonna be all over this place. And I don't do windows. Your windows.
That's impossible. I never bleed. I'm made of ice.
Oh yeah? What do you call that? Snowflakes?
Which caused
And
us...
you couldn't appeal.
Yeah.
Yes, we lost it forever. Anybody that watches that video of peanut butter and jelly sandwich making, I'm making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with a sword, and I flick him in the forehead, an asset of blood. That's it. That's what that is. Asset of blood to illustrate just nothing you need to do in Mortal Kombat. Everybody bleeds.
Right.
Flagged immediately, and our appeal was denied immediately, and now forever that video that has hundreds of thousands of views, nothing.
Yep.
You get nothing for that.
Yeah, and that's why we made a video right after that about YouTube censorship, which I still think applies to this day, even though it came out in 2010.
Holy shit! Are you gonna die, whore? Whoa! Whoa, no! What was that?
What? I was just going with the flow of the moment. You didn't like it?
No! Oh, you cannot swear in any scene at any time, ever. YouTube will say it's not family appropriate.
Well, I can't remember the last time I got the whole family together for a 3-minute YouTube video, unless, of course, it involved a monkey peeing in its own mouth. And yeah, Mom, Dad, Susie, Nathan, come on over. I got a video to show you. So why can't you just bleep out the swears? A lot of popular YouTubers do it.
Yeah, popular ones. But not only will I have to bleep it, I'll have to blur out your whole face and replace the swear word with a different word that sounds completely ridiculous.
And that actually did a lot of traction too. It was surprising.
Yeah, and the double standards we saw at the time from creators like Shane Dawson, who could have gory decapitations and blackface, or more recently, Logan Paul with the Suicide Forest. They're examples that told us early on about the barriers we're facing. Due to the success of Mortal Kombat, Machinima, which was a parody channel that accepted content from thousands of creators, offered us a 50-50 split contract to upload content to their 12 million followers. So there we created Video Game Flaws Oblivion, Fallout 3,
Come on, son. Come to Daddy. Hey, happy birthday! Here's your gift boy. Now get a job! Hello, and welcome to the test that will determine what you're good at for the rest of your life. That's why we call it the GOAT.
When did I have time to study?
Well, I can rig it for you and skip all this bullshit.
Yeah, I did it.
Well, here's the cheat sheet.
and Left 4 Dead 2.
I'm going this way.
Which funded and boosted our channel. And we gained thousands of subscribers through description links on this content. But the name led some to think that we hated the series. The video game flaws, the flaws aspect, led people to automatically be critical before they even really watched the video.
It's to celebrate those flaws, not to say that the game is flawed and just don't play it.
Right.
Like, that's not what that means.
Yeah, and I think most people understood that. Then Anthony started talking to his future wife and moved up there fairly quickly, I think at the beginning of 2011. That created for us 3 hours of distance, and he picked up a major job. At the time, it did upset me because we were finding success, and it was easier to film when we were living together and in the same city while he wasn't working very much. So although we couldn't film often, I extended it being butthurt and feeling bitter, and took it personally, and it caused kind of a year absence that hurt the channel some. And the distance and lack of time, because Anthony was working 50 to 60 hours a week and has ever since,
Yeah, I've not
to make
stopped.
ends meet, did limit the content communication on ideas from this point forward. We don't usually have time to talk much about the ideas, as he was saying before. We usually just like go into the filmings and like, oh, what are we doing? Oh, let's look at the little bit of a script we have, the bare bones outline. Since the beginning, we always had done tons of improv, inspired by the greats like Robin Williams and stars from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh, yeah.
But it became more at this point. To keep releasing content, we started doing Let's Plays as ourselves.
All right, now we're playing Earthworm Jim.
We're not playing Earthworm Jim. We're playing.
You can tell who's more of a fan for this game.
I can't belch like that.
I think this was like 2012 or 13. My camera just... But no one seemed interested either because of the retro games we were playing or because they'd become familiar with our Mortal Kombat characters at this point. We had the same problem when we were releasing other real-life content. And promising us great success, we contracted with a network called Collective Digital Studios. They no longer exist anymore. That claimed that they'd make us big. You never want to listen to anybody who claims that they're going to do that.
They know the workarounds. They're trusted by YouTube, and they can get things through. That was the only appealing thing to me, was the not getting flagged thing.
Yep. But then they
hey,
flipped that around later on, and the network started putting it on the creators all over again near the end. Yeah. They took 30% of our revenue for 2 years, and YouTube takes 45% as well. So after taxes, travel costs, equipment, and costumes, we were barely getting by for funding for our channel. Around the same time, YouTube took down our Grand Theft Auto parody because it had tags in the description that we were unaware had just recently become against the rules.
Yeah, they changed the rule that was not a thing, and then a video that we already had up for a long, long period of time is like, oh no,
it's gone.
Just because you had too much text in that box.
Yeah, no appeal process.
Now, look at what YouTube says about tags now.
I haven't noticed it. Is it okay
They don't do anything unless there's special spellings. They basically said the tags are next to useless. It's all about what the title is. Oh, yeah,
I have seen that recently. But I don't know if I believe most of the things.
I don't know either. I'll keep writing them. We'll keep writing all of them.
But yeah, this is when it began to feel like they were just going out of our way to sabotage us, in my opinion. Then we released our Mortal Kombat 9 fight, and its instant success helped our channel rebound and began... this is where we began gaming as the Mortal Kombat characters.
What are we doing?
I guess we're playing Goat Simulator.
What is it like to be a goat?
You'll find out.
But we were only playing indie games because we were afraid to play Mortal Kombat due to fears of Warner Bros. Taking down our content. That's why we didn't play Mortal Kombat right away. Anthony's editing continued to improve, and I felt like I couldn't keep up. So it was mostly his hard work along the way at that point. I began to write more of the scripts, but always felt like I wasn't as funny, so it was difficult to film and come up with ideas early on. I also focused a lot on contract stuff, understanding our rights, helping decide on what content we released, and social media with some editing here and there as well. Eventually, I came to terms with Sub-Zero needing to be the straight man, the joke setter for the silly Scorpion, and became more comfortable with the role. After our Mortal Kombat 9 fight, we reached out to Machinima to see if we could release new Video Game Flaws content, but we were told our production value was too low and shown Hollywood content to explain the level we needed to attain. Little did I know at the time that Machinima was being acquired by Warner Bros. And had set this criteria in an effort to rebrand the channel for their own means. They removed our subscribe links that helped us gain followers to promote their own content, and soon enough set our Video Game Flaws videos to private along with thousands of other parody channels, so they could use Machinima to air Mortal Kombat Legacy. Setting the videos on private allowed Warner Bros. To copyright claim and take down channels' videos that attempted to re-upload their content, and they uploaded it to Dailymotion, where no one would see it, to not violate these contracts and keep the videos indefinitely. It essentially killed thousands of parody channels right off the bat, and damaged us and limited our video game parody options. It's no different than Warner Bros. Takedown of Terrordrome, a fun fan horror game making no money that didn't at all threaten them. For a company that purchases its ideas and steals them from others, they sure like to pretend they're original. At the same time, they had locked thousands of creators into lifetime revenue split contracts on their own channels, promising the same as the Collective Digital Studios had for us. After Mortal Kombat Legacy aired, I noticed they'd funded many channels to make sponsored fights to promote Legacy, and that we were left out. So we bought a better camera to increase our production value, started hitting each other more in fights, and began making weekly uploads. They were difficult to make because of time. Skits took 1 day of filming per month. We only had that 1 day of filming, and we needed to do all of this other content as well as these skits. We did the MKX fight, 3 holiday videos, the Fallout 4 Video Game Flaws video, 2 Mortal Kombat Q&A videos, Shinnok and Raiden's fight, as well as MKX's story mode and gameplays that all happened in 2015. Our increased popularity led to many expressing dislike for our creations and pushback from the community about the accuracy of our parody characters and decision to make them silly and less accurate instead of serious. We did this to try and sway things away from the intense, unfun atmosphere seen in sections of the community in games, and create comfortability for some to cross the barriers and represent the characters the way that they identified with them. There were many who'd make fun of us for being scrawny, like we experienced from bullies in high school. And still, the comments came in about my teeth. At home, there was still constant troubles with my dad's emotional abuse, and I never felt safe in that house while trying to protect my mom. I masked a lot of this by smoking weed, which, with breathing problems and my tooth disorder, damaged my throat, lungs, and overall health. I started developing physical numbness in my limbs and losing the taste for food and a ton of other health problems. And every day I would spit up lots of blood. I began to hope and beg for a miracle to feel better and get out of the situation. Then we filmed a Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat fight, and I was kicked in the eye. At that point,
Oh my god. Oh my god, dude.
Dude. It's okay. We're gonna have to stop the fight though. And I really need something to drink. Can you get me that cola, please? And my foot was crushed by the front door. Before then, I was working out some to maintain my health, but the experience made me sedentary and damaged my nose, breathing, and caused more numbness. For a few years after, it hurt to walk, and the coughing up of blood just got worse. The voices we also do have been damaging our throats since the beginning.
Ridiculous!
What's a dump?
Oh no, you're pathetic and weak, lady! I'll show you how pathetic and weak I am! I'm gonna make you wet! Oh, you're gonna get so wet by the end of this!
I just think it's wrong when you say things like that. I'll be soon joined by Sub-Zero, who, if you're wondering why he sounds the way he does, it's because he's an idiot. And he let Reptile drink his iced tea first, and his acid he spit backwash made his vocal cords sound like shit for the duration of the Let's Play.
And I've bled countless times because of them. My vocal range has been becoming more limited due to damage to my throat and it closing up more. And to try to get more respect from the community, content creators, and people like Boone and Tobias, we do those close contact fights. We do real back bumps onto the ground.
You okay? Yeah. Yeah!
And due to our time constraints, they're always improvised. This leads us to get hurt far more often than most film fights, or at least the ones that show up on YouTube. And my back goes out regularly because of it, which is part of why I started searching for things to numb me. After our MK11 fight, I experienced a whole month of bruised ribs and soreness, and it's been hard on my mental health all along the way. There isn't enough awareness of the demanding nature and toll it takes to make this type of content. Our sacrifices and hard work not being recognized or respected started to make me bitter about making videos. We started trying to get the creators of Mortal Kombat's attention through tweeting and uploading content to Warner Bros. Mortal Kombat Collective community, but to no avail. My insecurities also were getting in the way of social media. I felt like many in the community hated and judged us, as my dad and sister had too, telling us to stop making content and that it was a waste of time. And social media made me feel watched by the company and other judgy creators. When we'd reach out to other creators like History Behind the Warrior and Felius to admire their work and give respect, it was almost never returned and made me wonder if we weren't worthy of it or just didn't belong. Through MKX, we found major success and our monthly views shot up from 250,000 to over 1 million. Though ad revenue remained low because of it being Mortal Kombat. Ed Boon even tweeted about liking our costumes, which motivated us for our MKX fight. Sorry. It was a hard one to make. As with most videos, we didn't have a cameraman and only 6 hours to film an improvised fight. We couldn't have done it without the help of our friend Ash, who made our Mortal Kombat X, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden, and Shinnok outfits that still look flawless to this day. Thank you for that, Ash. It's much appreciated, and we've used the hell out of those costumes. Around this time, I met my high school crush, whose kindness speaking to me back in the day motivated me to try to get better and not want to kill myself as much in high school. At the end of 2016, Anthony was diagnosed with cancer, which most of you know. After filming our Mad Santa Christmas video, and he went through the pain during that filming.
Ding dong, it's Santa! Ah! Oh! Yes!
Just wanting to get it taken care of after. Before he told us, I'd seen search results from our shared account that led me to wonder and worry. Treatment was expensive, and I thought we were going to lose him because it was a more aggressive form. I know I was probably overreacting too. And he went in late because of the costs and fear, so it had advanced some. When he was recovering from testicular surgery, we stayed by his side and tried to film as much as possible. Usually only a video or two a day, because the medications and surgery made him very sleepy.
Well, I wasn't allowed to lift anything. For 6 weeks at least. I wasn't allowed to lift anything other than a phone book. But still, I was like, hey, we're gonna film something, and then I'll roll out of my bed wedge, and I'll come and scream at a camera until I feel a burning sensation, and then go back to bed again.
Yeah, you were definitely drugged during that point. At this point, I realized just how much making videos helped him and how necessary of a distraction and coping mechanism it was for him during recovery. He wasn't focused on much else but making and editing content. But there was still a fear at the time of the cancer spreading. So we decided to release more content to try and pay for medical bills and be prepared for whatever might happen in the future.
At the same moment is when YouTube's algorithm shifted and how payment or the scales behave, because at the time we were trying to get clicks. It didn't really matter. But then all of a sudden it required the length of attention. It's at that particular period of time where the let's play video or the really long review or the something that could generate more than 10 minutes of traction became what you needed to do. Like you had to do that. And so parody of videos or sketches that lasted longer than 10 minutes on a regular basis, or just like, oh, that's all day. That's 2 days. That's a day and a half, 2 days, and then a week or two if you're crunch editing to get that out. And then you have nothing in between there, which you need. Because YouTube's algorithm says if you don't post a video here, 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 and here, everybody's going to bury you. Everybody, even if you're subscribed to us, we're gonna fall to the bottom of the stack, and you'll never see us in the recommended, the recently uploaded. You'll never see us.
Yeah, and I believe this was the same time that they had introduced mid-roll ads that would play only if your content happened to be longer than 10 minutes as well.
10 minutes, yeah.
So there was an incentive for them to promote that type of content because they were going to make a lot more ad revenue off of it. Maybe that's why fans weren't watching some of our content we released at the time as much, because we started doing martial arts fights reactions.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another Let's Watch, but this is special. We're gonna call this segment Fight Club.
Fight Club?
Fight Club.
Wait, that's already a thing? I've heard that before.
No, it's not a thing. It's not actually a thing. We came up with it first. Fight Club never existed before this. Now, Fight Club with a K.
With a K? Oh, that's way different. Yeah.
Fight Club's completely different.
Yep.
And I remember a lot of pushback from that. Most of those videos got copyright claims.
That's
primarily
immediate.
by Warner
As soon
Bros.
as I decided that's what to do, yeah, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna knowingly watch videos that are going to probably be taken down or be demonetized or subsidized in any way, just to have something entertaining that I wanted to share with the audience. But what started happening more often than I thought would happen was that they would just be globally blocked.
Yeah, right.
Like no one could see them. Oh yeah, the video is there. That's on YouTube. I'm looking at that one. And they go, no, you can't see that in the United States.
Yeah, it'd be
Or
like
any of these
available
other
in like
countries,
France
except for
or some
Guam.
like a couple countries, and that was it. And yeah, that was becoming very common. But most of the time, Warner Bros. Was behind it because they like seem to own everything, and so they would copyright claim most of those videos, despite the fact. Oh, sorry.
I didn't really care about the claim. It was the blocking.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you there, but it's whether or not the claim affects the overall viewership too. There's a possibility
because
that it could.
There's something in the code. There was something in the code at the time that said if you were flagged or if age gated or the money was taken away at some point in there, you were kicked to the bottom of a list and search.
Yep.
Basically, not easy to find.
But it still
So that
bothered
was
me
also-
because they claim us all the time, not just for the fights. They claim it for other things as well too, which I'll get into in a little bit here. Despite the fact that parody legally allows us to make money on this type of content, but since they're a big company, YouTube automatically sides with them, and we'd need to bring them to court, which we couldn't afford, and even if we could, we wouldn't win. So we couldn't make much at the time to help solve this problem and alleviate the future worries. I mean, MK itself is a parody and very violent, but to do a less violent form gets you censored and copyright claimed because of the large companies involved. Around the same time is when the MK Roomies channel publicly started calling us sellouts for making reactions and gameplay videos.
Yeah.
BizarrelyFunny, yeah, I have Jake. I wanted to do a collaboration with them. They weren't having it. They never replied to me. So someday I'm gonna take the piss out of one of their videos. I think I'm gonna have their video running, and I'm gonna green screen myself in the background, sort of messing with them.
That's the end of you. Fatality.
But they've lost my respect because they've sold out. They're doing Scorpion Plays Apex Legends.
So we're gonna play a little bit of Apex. I suck ass at Apex.
Scorpion Plays Fortnite.
Well, there's a new challenge going around. It's called the Fortnite Dance Challenge. And Scorpion figured, what kind of ninja would I be if I didn't step up and master this one?
Sub-Zero plays, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Nights at
What
Freddy's.
the hell is this? Is Freddy Krueger in this game?
I don't know. I don't know anything about this game. All I know is that all of those people, they wanted us to play it.
Okay, all of you.
They're doing gaming videos in the outfits. So yeah, BizarrelyFunny, if you're watching this, you sold out, dude. No respect.
Along with some members of the audience, despite these videos being related to Mortal Kombat and often hard for us to put together due to the distance, the characterizations, and other factors. This is when some members of our audience began to become critical about the need to do more skits or more gameplays or more characters, and with limited time, resources, and living hours away, we didn't feel like we could ever please them. Eventually, our holiday skits would become packed with more and more characters as a solution for the people who waited all year for skits and to see their favorite characters. But it was super stressful making such long improvised content with so many costume changes in one day, and developing so many characters' personalities and outfits along the way felt like immense pressure. Few channels know what it's like to try and film up to a 30-minute improvised skit with dozens of characters in one day, and how stressful this was for us. Because of the time crunch and
most
pressure.
people have more people to do that with.
Yes.
And that helps.
Cameramen.
Helps to have more people, but we've always been... It's kind of our it's kind of our format to just be the two of us, and it's limiting in that sense. We understand, but it's special in that way too.
Right. Because of the time crunch and pressure, I always had severe anxiety about messing up and feeling like if I made a big mistake on camera, I'd damage my already low confidence and offend people for getting the characters wrong that they loved. It led to a lot of stress and sleepless nights where I masked the worries and felt dead tired and not physically well for our filmings. And with all the extra work, I started to feel a sense of underappreciation from many in the community for how difficult researching, playing, and finding costumes for so many characters actually is, and how costly it can be. We've mostly invested almost all of the money from the channel right back into these costumes and this equipment and everything else.
I have a $438 one that's still not here.
Oh, so you did get that after all?
No. I replaced it. I went. That was a scam. I went straight for MK3. I've got 1, 2, and now I'm getting 3. Yeah. 3's going to be over there, and because it's the third game, it has to be the most expensive so far. It's the rules.
Yeah, but we do that not only because we're nerds, but we want to represent all of the characters' variations, because we know some of you guys are fans of certain iterations. It hits on your nostalgia like it does for us, but also so you can see the different cosplays you can put together, the different options you have, and to support these artists that have created these costumes and masks as well too. To try to get more resources, we contacted TGN, which is like Machinima, and spoke to Peter Chow, who turned out to not have any empathy for our situation, and only tried to trick us into another useless Collective Digital Studios-like agreement. I'd figured he was a good guy up until that point because of his work with Dashi in his MK series, and had seen some of his videos, but learned he only cared about making money off of us.
Yeah, he is a salesman.
Yes,
exactly. You can hear a guy once he speaks. Once he starts talking to you on the phone, you start to hear. If he starts speaking at about 100 words a minute, just trying to overwhelm you with what they can do for you, don't.
Yeah.
Go the other way. He's selling.
The only thing I offered actually was, we have this thing that will help you get better tags. It looks at your tags and it analyzes what tags you could have instead. I'm like, really? That's all you're going to offer? I'm telling you that my cousin has cancer and we need something more substantial, and we've had a lot of bad contracts in the past, and just trying to trick me off with that. I was later told by TGN that they were only focused on Overwatch and had no interest in placing our content on their channel, and that maybe we too should move on from Mortal Kombat. Then I reached out to Machinima, aware of Dashi's agreement that gained him access through them, to try to get more funding for Anthony's treatment. I even suggested hiring Anthony's Joker for conventions, knowing they'd previously lost their Joker cosplayer they paid to do them, feeling like Anthony did a great Joker and would be awesome in this setting.
No, hey, no, I don't want it! Oh. Goodbye, everybody! I'm coming in to pay for more! Hit the bell!
We're just trying to get some sort of network-based contract that had something substantial in it, you know? And the company rep was nice, but was not willing to offer anything in the contract besides his word that they'd treat us better than they did him, us, and many others along the way. I didn't buy it, and we learned our lesson from the past, so we moved on. Around this time was when we were focused on trying to help Anthony survive. A Mortal Kombat Encyclopedia, MK Remembrance, Uppercut Editions account, which is the one that got kickstarted and just shut down recently, started asking us if we could promote their fan book on our channel. Originally, we said yes. Happy to help another struggling creator and thinking their idea was great. But we said, there we go, throat dry. But we said yes before Anthony's cancer diagnosis. Afterwards, I told them it would take some time, but they kept being pushy despite knowing about his cancer and our fears. So eventually, after fighting in DMs, I told them we weren't going to do it because we needed to focus on content that was more likely to help us pay for his treatment. They still kept pushing though and trying to make me feel guilty for agreeing beforehand, saying Brusque Poet had already sent it, so we need to send it back, so we might as well make the video. Their insensitivity and pushiness is what drove me to say no, and afterwards they blocked us. My health continued to deteriorate, and then we tried to move to Injustice 2 to expand our audience, have more fun, and appeal to NetherRealm.
Let's play a special one of Injustice Gotham Among Us.
I really don't want to play this game because I'm not even in it.
But
So
you
why
know
would
who is? Me!
Oh, great.
I'm in this game.
These videos all failed, so did our attempts to branch out with Deadpool, despite doing a good job with these characters. I thought your Deadpool was great.
People hate me. They hated my Deadpool.
No,
because
they didn't.
They did. I've heard a lot of iterations of Deadpool, and I was trying to do like the comic-y one from like the animated series, and he's squeaky.
Dang, Skippy! Where are my manners? Introductions! Call me Deadpool. It rhymes with no school. Too cool, ain't no fool, and I'm the best that there is at what I do. Cool. Moving on!
I liked your
It's
Deadpool.
funny to me.
I think there
so
were people
I
who
was
did.
doing that, and people generally don't like it. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. I get it. He's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to turn mine into something else that wasn't Ryan Reynolds. And people don't like that as much because it's not really as good as the actual Deadpool is.
I don't
How
know.
do you parody Deadpool? How?
I think you also had trouble with some of those videos. I think you did like a reaction to a Deadpool trailer and it got like instantly blocked everywhere. Wasn't that one of the things that happened?
Yes. It was like, I don't remember what it was. It was probably Deadpool 2 coming out or something.
It was with Cable. Mm-hmm.
With Cable, and I reacted to that, and it just like automatically blocked everywhere.
Yeah.
After the trailer went up.
Yeah, so that
But
kind of
it's a trailer. It's a trailer. I get subsidizing, like the money goes over here. I get it, but
right. Why block it? It's not going to help.
The whole
them.
blocking.
Yeah. Then the Adpocalypse happened. So we were still trying to get money to help with these problems.
Yeah, and all these big advertisers pulled out of YouTube, and they panicked, and then it tanked the bank. Like everything just went.
And YouTube.
Worth nothing.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
YouTube didn't communicate what was wrong with our content, but almost every video became limited ads immediately, which make about 1/10 of the revenue and damage their actual exposure as well too. I was still very worried about Anthony's cancer and that it would come back, especially after losing my dog to it and his wife's mom as well. I don't remember exactly when that was, but I think it was around that time. Not only did it dramatically reduce our resources, but it damaged the traction of any videos that we released. They said it was because of terrorist content originally, while targeting channels like ours and simultaneously promoting to kids pedophilia and child grooming videos until they were exposed for that later in the media, which was also known as Adpocalypse 2. We made content to inspire others to get into cosplay, content creation, and to laugh and make the world a better place, but suddenly it was starting to feel impossible to make a difference, and the dark underbelly of the place we brought the fans to was beginning to show its true colors. Our sense of purpose was damaged, and my family started becoming hard on me to get a real job because YouTube was no longer working. Except my mom, she was amazing throughout and always helped with the process, and she was very supportive along the way. Almost every video needed to be promoted like crazy to get it reviewed for having limited ads by someone at YouTube because they set the criteria to be that the video needed to get at least 1,000 views in the past week. So old videos were very difficult to fix and needed to be promoted even though they no longer were popular anymore. And though most eventually turned to full monetization, the damage had been done and many were still reviewed to not be ad friendly. Everything we uploaded was this way, and even when a system was created to be able to review them before release, they'd take their sweet time as they did during our It Part 1 video, which took a week to review and damaged its launch. We noticed Warner Bros. Was helping creators get them reversed and get their yellows into greens, so we reached out knowing full well how many people we'd gotten into the series, games we'd helped them sell, and Mortal Kombat's censorship roots.
On Capitol Hill, the focus was on video games, amid complaints that some of them promote the very thing that most people are trying to prevent. Video game manufacturers today issued something of a preemptive strike aimed at keeping violent and sexual images away from kids. NBC's John Cochran now.
The makers of some video games promote them as a way that guys can show how tough they are. But today, the game makers themselves blinked. Under pressure from an angry Congress and angrier parents, game makers offered a new rating system. GA for general audiences, all ages. MA13, okay for teens, but not younger kids. And MA17 for 17-year-olds and older.
Ed Boon, who's sitting right next to me, and John Tobias. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you. You know, as these things evolve, parents are getting a bit concerned because they get more and more graphic, and they are accusing you, or at least other critics as well, that you're marketing gratuitous violence with real no end in sight. I mean, the games do nothing except sit there and you watch people die. Are you?
Absolutely not. I mean, what we provide is a form of entertainment in the form of a video game. The violent aspect of the video game is, you know, is a minor aspect in the overall scheme of the game itself. The players, I think, are aware of that. We're aware of that. Maybe somebody looking on the outside, unfamiliar with the game itself.
We thought they might be interested in helping us, but it was also to no avail. Even if videos had been reviewed as safe for advertisers, they could still become unsafe again, and reviewers' decisions were inconsistent and final. Some videos demonetized had no violence, but just had to do with Mortal Kombat. Some were super violent, but reviewed as safe. There was no clarity and no one to speak to about it, and many became age-restricted at this point. Age restrictions kill over 99% of a video's viewership, and our age-restricted content always lost the appeal. Even our 2014 Thanksgiving video was age-restricted, which had almost no violence.
Now excuse me while I cook this properly. No, you're ruining it. Stay.
And it lost its appeal a day later, only to a year afterwards become unrestricted again at random. Looking back, most of our Mortal Kombat 11 content is currently either age-restricted or has limited ads, and a lot of these were turned this way after their newer policy to not target gaming content the same as real violence or terrorism. Isn't that ridiculous that they treat it on the same level as beheading videos in the Middle East? I believe this was YouTube's crafty way to roll out the red carpet for Hollywood's transition to YouTube with YouTube originals with stars and give advantage to some while taking it away from others, which especially targeted, surprisingly, LGBTQ and other diversity-oriented content. And once a channel has enough data to say it's violent, it's very hard to undo. During the Adpocalypse, YouTube suggested you were more likely to be successful creating a new channel, in this case because of the algorithm. The YouTube Shorts calls I was part of also said that Shorts can damage the viewership of old content, and if this happens, that you need to make a new account specifically for them, which probably means that new uploads not doing well damages the old content that we'd like to preserve. It's always been a reality that YouTube doesn't care for its creators, and they've shown this time and time again by removing many community-oriented features, and the dislike button being the most recent, for the benefit of brands and damage to all who'd like to hold creators accountable and know the quality of what they're about to watch. And there's no clear rules on how to be successful despite constant changes to the way the algorithm functions unless you're a star. Advantages and information are given singularly to the top, and it's a guessing game of what's acceptable and becoming successful for the rest of us. And yeah, we tried to branch out to horror games.
Well, hello, Kombat crew, and welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator.
You guys keep saying, hey, you guys should play Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator.
So you're making pizzas as Freddy. I mean, that's weird.
But many of these Let's Plays didn't do well and no longer do. We tried introducing more Mortal Kombat characters.
Hello, Kombat crew, and welcome to Scorpion, and I don't know who else is supposed to be here, because I thought that... Oh my god, it's meat! It's meat!
Those videos were mostly unwatched as the audience preferred Scorpion and Sub-Zero. And we tried moving to Mario and other Nintendo games.
Hello, crew! Welcome back to Super Mario Maker 2! Mario Maker 2!
And those videos didn't do well either. Even our attempts to
Well, yeah, but it's the universe, right? It's like, here's ultra-violence, mature audiences versus an E for everyone series of games.
Yeah, and I think back then at the time, Nintendo was trying to force half of the revenue off on the videos to, like, you had to get them approved by Nintendo. They had some weird broken system. And even our attempts to play Mortal Kombat classics have largely been unsuccessful and are often targeted for censorship. Patreon and other fan funding sources also didn't bear much fruit, but we were flattered and greatly appreciated those that put their hard-earned money forward to help. Thank you. We tried TikTok and other social media, but they didn't help much, and to tell you the truth, these places were constant reminders of the advantages given to certain creators around us, and I felt jealous and like I didn't belong. Live streams didn't generally do well, and especially on Twitch as Sub-Zero. I had a real hard time with those ones. Collaborations also don't usually work these days to help creators get more traction. We tried Try Not to Laugh challenges.
Well, hello, Combat Crew, and welcome to a Try Not to Laugh challenge with a brand new punishment that Raiden came up with.
Damn it, Raiden! Why did he have to do this? It's electroshock therapy.
If you notice, we are wearing devices on our arms right now. These will give electric shocks to the opponent via remote control.
Mortal Kombat Versus with punishment.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to an amazing ice challenge that he has to be put through because he lost.
Go away. You don't want to see this as
No, we do. We do. And I'm wearing my celebratory balaclava just to celebrate how awesome this is. We're going to actually be pouring ice on him for a total of 5 minutes.
No.
Let's go ahead and start that timer here. Oh, I love this. Here we go. 4:59. We're starting right now. I love that.
Short skits, MK News videos focusing on the thumbnails, but nothing would stick. We began subtitling all our skits to be more available to others globally, noticing how YouTube's auto-subtitling was incorrectly saying we were swearing throughout our content and restricting because of it. It thought we swore almost every third word at the time.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't realize that. I mean, we every once in a while will slip, but it's usually covered by a toasty. Now, yeah, but back then, before that was very, very apparent that they were taking down videos that had one FS bomb within the first minute. Now, I don't know what the rules are.
Yeah, it's
just
something
don't do
like
it.
that.
It's like, don't do it.
Well, I think
blur your whole face.
Their system, their subtitling, auto-subtitling system was very bad back then, and we're also wearing masks.
We're wearing masks,
so
yeah.
that made it very difficult for it to tell, but the fact that it automatically presumed that we were swearing, and, who's the one doing the bad thing? They're showing kids on these subtitles that we're saying the F-bomb and stuff when we're not. They're literally swearing to them when it's not there.
They don't blank it out like, oh no, we can't say what they just said. We'll replace it with fruit or food.
No, they would show it. That's the weird thing about it. But we tried different colored blood in the Mortal Kombat 11 videos to avoid restriction.
Switched all of the hues of red
Yep.
to other pigments like other channels were doing. I saw
Maximilian, I believe.
Maximilian, dude. And it was a good idea for a moment, and then the YouTube just got smarter. I don't know what happened, but it's just like, hey, now we're going to do, and even if it's black and white, we'll see it, and we'll just throw it. But now you got to blur. I see everybody blurring now. Whenever something is like,
yep,
okay, there's a little blood there, a little bit of blood. No,
I see that on Dead Meat's channel all the time. Yeah, but those videos were still targeted. We attempted giveaways to try to give back cosplays and excite the audience.
Well, hello, Kombat Crew. It's been exactly 2 weeks since we announced this giveaway, which means on Instagram, on Sinister Props and BizarrelyFunny's pages, you can now see who won the Scorpion and Sub-Zero Mortal Kombat movie masks.
We even tried to be good at the games despite it feeling uncomfortable and unlike
Yeah, it's
our
so hard to get
button
good,
mashing.
you guys. It's so hard to get good when you don't have time to get good.
Yeah. And
I get professionals that do this for a living, and they spend their 10 to 12 hours that they would spend doing a day job at being better at this game. They're gonna win. You're gonna beat us. There's no way I'm gonna beat you. But that's why we're kind of formatted a different way. We're kind of formatted a different way to bring character to the play.
yeah, and when you focus on that, it's also hard to focus on the gameplay. Like I learned that when I was just playing Mortal Kombat 1 or 2, I do worse when I'm doing it in character, a lot worse than when I'm just like, focused on playing the game. But we definitely respect those of you out there that are great at the games and have put a lot of time into kicking ass. And and many ideas we thought would succeed, the audience had no interest in, like our Pokemon Go video. These ideas were disappointing if we had put a lot of thought into them, and we often received no feedback or appreciation for art such as the tunes that he drew or the recent backgrounds drawn by hand and content, which kind of discourages continuing to do those kinds of things. The limitation to our subscribers' interest has made me feel creatively boxed in, and like I can only just make one type of content after 12 years because anything we try to do that deviates from that just automatically doesn't work and potentially damages the channel. And focusing so much on making content while damaging my health along the way due to the stress of it has undoubtedly taken time off my life and made the last 12 years somewhat unenjoyable, having to stress over those types of things. And it's been over 7 years since the last time I've been more excited than stressed for a filming. The stress has just been kind of piling on more and more. Since then, my eyes have opened to the unfair advantages and illusion that a channel like ours can truly make it. It doesn't help that trying to make it, whether it be for more resources, confidence, respect, or for any other reason, becomes like a toxic addiction where you keep trying no matter the costs or damage done to yourself. Please heed this warning if you make content or plan to.
It's this thing, I mean, when we started out in like 2011, 2010, 2011, there wasn't that many. I mean, there's a lot because it wasn't started in 2006 or 2000, when the originals started. But there's still, today, the amount of fish is substantially higher. So like the idea of getting a channel off the ground now is the most daunting thing you've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
So that's why more you're in a box. It's why more you're in a box because we're established as doing this thing that works. So we just bend the thing into everything else that's working.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, like a channel that's devoted to how to do something, to how to make a garden, or how to write a book, draw a picture, do a flash animation. Those people that are like unboxers or that do reactions or that do gameplays and finish the entire 100% the games. Those channels are great at doing that thing, but look at them. They can't do anything else either.
Yeah, exactly.
So the YouTube basically okay, this is what your audience says. You must do this. Dashy. I love him. I'm not saying anything bad about him. What am I even subtexting that? No. Dashy said, I don't want to be boxed into only doing Mario Brothers videos, Mario Maker videos. And so he just hinted for a second that he's not saying I'm not going to do them anymore. He just said, I'm not going to do them every Saturday. And he saw what happened. He did that and it went boom. I was like, oh shit. And then he started, doing them more frequently again. And he was huge, and he is huge. He's over 5 million, almost 6 now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
great respect for him. But yeah,
his impact.
It can be limiting for sure. It can lead you to have to do content that you're not as excited to do all the time anymore, just because you have to do so much of it. If you want to jump around, it kind of gives a refresher. You know, you can feel rejuvenated to go back to that content if you have a slight break from it. At that point, it seemed quite clear the company and the creators of Mortal Kombat were never going to help or throw us a bone. I began to realize that the company wasn't going to accept us and that we'd been like blacklisted or something for some reason, despite all our sacrifice, love for Mortal Kombat, and how we'd helped them over the years to sell games and stuff. It became clear that the types of people promoted either focus on rumor mill clickbait videos.
MK11 will be announced a week or so before E3, which this year starts on June 12. So I'm expecting at least a announcement trailer to be revealed at Combo Breaker at the end of May, or it might just be uploaded on YouTube again like they did the others. And if they choose to do the YouTube way, then it'll be uploaded on June 4th. And if they don't announce it at Combo Breaker, it'll really break my heart, because that is literally the home of NetherRealm Studios. Literally, it's located in Chicago, and Ed Boon is always in attendance at Combo Breaker. So I'm like 70% expecting it to be announced there, and then if it doesn't, it'll be on YouTube a week later, so no biggie. But they also might be sending a few teases here and there, so just keep your eyes out and your mind open.
Suck up to the creators of Mortal Kombat constantly, have expensive, elaborate costumes that promote the current games, or pros at the games, or people that help the company look more inclusive. And Mortal Kombat 11 has taken competitive play pretty seriously. The focus on skills and high-level play often creates a bit of an uncomfortable atmosphere for people just trying to be silly, with noobs often treated like they're somehow not fans of the series for sucking at it. Then I started to notice all the advantages being part of their circles provided, getting sent to events, early access to trailers.
We also have kind of the first view of the multiverse mode, which you'll be able to play and kind of check how that all works out. So record the things, have fun. If you have any questions, you can ask me. And then mobile is back there. You can ask Ray. We also have Mr. Ed Boon's right here if you want to talk to him.
Promotions on their social media. And expensive gifts given for free to help channels like Dynasty and Uncaged Games do circles around us. Whether it be early access to the games for content creators, or the company picking and choosing which pro players should get early access to practice the games competitively before they've come out. It's a broken and twisted system that's very hard to compete with. And sponsored posts are masked as genuine fan theories and interests, with many content creators compensated to deceptively act more interested in the games and produce rumors and fake excitement.
This movie looks great. I take back all the Cole Young slander. I'm excited. I'm happy.
During Mortal Kombat 11's launch, we reacted to Life and Deaths and Gamers Little Playgrounds early access Scorpion and Sub-Zero dialogues a few days before launch. We didn't think it would be a problem because it had been like only a couple days before it was going to come out. But Life and Death's channel was offended, despite us going out of our way to not hide their name in the video, and they just told us we should have asked for permission from them. That Warner Bros. Sent them to record the footage, and it means a lot to the money he's making. There are channels, WB Funds.
It's a direct shout. It's like, back off my money.
Yeah.
You know, like the whole, and that's something that I want everybody to understand from me. I want everybody to know from me that I'm not competing with any one of them. This is a format that forces you to, and that's what everybody's thinking. Everybody's out to take their viewership, and because they're doing the same thing. If you want somebody to watch you, why? Why are they watching you? What did you do? Hopefully it's because they like you. Hopefully it's because hopefully that's the reason. And genuinely, when I do something or release something, film, edit, post, I'm doing it because I want to. I like it. And the money is extra. That is and it's not much, and I don't really mind that. Because I have a full-time gig. This is not reliant. I'm not reliant on this. This is something that I want to do. And so, like I said earlier, it's like a really realization of two goals in my life. This is just the way we've gone about doing that. And so people, when they say they're competition, like I'm competing, I'm not. And genuinely, I'm not competing.
Well, for me, like, I don't care much about the money either. It's about how much exposure we have. It's about,
I mean, I know.
It's about. It's
I mean,
about
I know your character.
It's about how many people
But the
see
way
us.
where your situation, the way it is, you're kind of in a place to where you're also backed into another corner.
Yeah, I am, because I live down in Mexico. I can't just work any regular job around, and I have to do something that's working well enough financially speaking. But
and
it's more about
surprisingly
the
enough,
views
that
for me.
happens a lot.
Oh, I did.
Like it does. Like I actually followed several YouTubers from their beginnings, and they made the jump. They went from full-time job, and then YouTube spiked and it was doing well, and they went, oh, I can leave this, and they left their job, and then YouTube tanked. And he's like, no, I gotta move to Thailand.
Oh yeah,
that's what happened to him. In order to be compensated the amount of money to live, they had to go to third world places.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even know anything about that. But you bring up a good point on the competing aspect, because we reacted to those intro dialogues thinking that people would want to see Scorpion and Sub-Zero's reaction to Scorpion and Sub-Zero's dialogues. If they just wanted to see the dialogues themselves, they could just go to Life and Death's channel and see the dialogues. Usually when they watch our reactions, people are seeing it for a second time or a third time.
Yeah,
it's not the first time.
We're not
it's
the
not
thing
a direct
that
competition.
you are exposed to the thing with.
Yes.
That's what most reaction channels are. You've already seen it, you've had a feeling, and you're like, I want to see what that person thinks about the thing that I like or hate.
Right.
That's what a reaction channel is for. If
Certainly
you have a
missed
reaction channel, you either have a guy you care about and you want to know his opinion, or you have a position of that person. You say, okay, so a martial artist, a martial arts instructor reacts to a fight scene. Or a stand-up comic reacts to a joke, or a rock climber reacts to a rock climbing.
It's over 90% or something where the 90% or more of the people have already seen whatever that thing is, and they're just seeing it in different form by you reacting to it as like, yeah, Scorpion or Sub-Zero. So I think that he missed that. But there are channels that WB funds in this way that are essentially just advertisements for the company, masked to look like they're unique fans that make like 10 times what we do, or 10 times the views or the revenue, however you want to see it, where they're just getting sent somewhere, being a company man, and then pressing a record button. Unfortunately, we've never wanted to be like this. It'd certainly be a lot easier. But our goal is to create unique content, inspire others, and be able to criticize the series to do better. Long story short, since this creator was contracted under Machinima, he got our video taken down out of spite. All those years I thought that the company hated us, but eventually I realized it was largely about the greed and taking advantage of others. The love of the fans kept us fueled through all of this though, and I love and appreciate all of you guys with all my heart for that. We tried once more with Mortal Kombat 11 to be more accurate, creating a fight we thought NetherRealm would love.
You want more iframes, don't you? You're stupid! You can't get more iframes! That's NetherRealm's job! You better talk to them about that! And by the way, you have too many already, you cheap bastard!
And staying up late to react to like 40 trailers.
Well, hello, my people. My favorite people, my Earthrealmers. Welcome to a very special reaction featuring me, your favorite god. And
Raiden, why did you do this to me? Why did you leave me like this?
Hey, how did you get out of my sock drawer? I left you in a shoebox for a reason.
That other channels got early access to. but we never could compete with their videos, having to release ours a day late because of Anthony's work. He didn't get off until most of the time we filmed at like 2 a.m.
Yeah, I think midnight to 2. Yeah, because I work forever.
Yeah.
And then they go home, and then we have to, hey,
not your
get
fault,
in
man.
Suits, get in the suit right now.
And we never made enough for him to be able to reduce his hours and to spend more time.
I can't anyway. I'm in a place at my position that I control the entire thing. So if something happens to me, there's 12 people that are going to have a problem with their employment. So I have this thing that I have in my head that I have to take care of them too.
Basically like a manager, pretty much there. But we wanted to try our best to make the community better, especially when discovering how toxic and selfish it can be. People fighting over the silliest and most messed up things, insecure and bitter largely because the community did nothing to address it along the way, only focusing on themselves. I learned about how toxic NetherRealm's culture can be, and that it causes a lot of this fighting. The lack of communication from Warner Bros. And NetherRealm about changes and their messed up decisions. Like when Mortal Kombat X launch was canceled for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 at the last second, or 7 months to say no new Mortal Kombat 11 updates. Their decision to cancel the PC update to fix lag for MK because not enough players had bought it, even though MKX on PC launched broken on day 1 with no communication after hiring the same company that broke MK9's port.
Well, hello there, Lin Kuei. I'm Sub-Zero, and today we're finally going to be playing Mortal Kombat X for PC. Now, I gotta start this off by saying PC's not complete yet. They don't have all the modes available. You can't do story mode or the tower or even test your luck. So we're gonna have to do a single fight for now. And picks, what? Are you kidding me? I can't even pick myself!
Sure, they decided to finally update it, but the lack of clarity in the guessing game fans are put through leads them to being upset. No timeline or communication about DLC content either, which is actually very rare in fighting games. For the most profitable and best-selling game in the series, this is nuts. And the lack of support after only 2 years and no real balance created in the games despite their desire to be a pro series is also ridiculous. And how they abuse minimum wage contractors at NetherRealm working 100-hour weeks for months before release, with pressure they'll be fired or their contracts won't be extended if they don't comply, which the company treats like it's normal. And there's a lot of rampant sexism there too. To make matters worse, these employees couldn't even use working at NetherRealm as a stepping stone due to the non-disclosure agreements they have to sign. They can't show off their work. It doesn't help that the company adds DLC specifically just to promote their movies and shows, replacing fan favorites. Even rumored Neo now makes sense with the Matrix movie that just came out.
Oh, that's so sad.
Multiverses and Injustice are also perfect examples. The former of which the company tries to pretend they made the game because of fans' interest in the Shaggy meme, which is highly unlikely in my opinion, and it's probably being used as evidence that they listened to the fans and to shield from criticism if the game's bad. They can just say, well, you guys wanted it. And through MK11 and MK Mobile, they've turned the series into a microtransaction-friendly clusterfuck. Seriously, like, why do they need to make so much money on the side?
Everything mobile will be is set up that way. It's just.
I don't disagree.
But they did like try very, very hard to say that Mortal Kombat wasn't one. Mortal Kombat 11. And,
years ago,
it's just years off your life before they fix that.
It bothered me though too when we were playing MK Mobile and I discovered that you could watch ads or that you could download other games to get these coins and stuff.
Come on.
Look at this.
There we go. Tell me one more second. So
I have pockets in there.
That got us 5 more souls. And you can receive more by completing offers. Let's see what that means too. Oh, really?
Oh, God, no.
Are you kidding me?
What have you done? This rabbit hole you've gotten us down.
What are you guys trying to do with this?
Oh, the patience I don't have.
You have to
I could be slaying souls.
Look at that. If you
I could be
download
protecting
other
Earth
games,
right now.
If you download other games, you can get a ton of souls. So yeah, they're really trying to get every buck they can.
want you to
here.
waste your space.
I know that's like their way of being free, but it seemed very classless. It seemed very cheesy, and I don't know. It just seems a little too far. They're just like trying to get every last penny that they can.
I'm trying
out
to
of you.
figure out. It seems to me that being the trend is the studios that stand away from the others that don't do it. That there's so not that many. There's so few studios that aren't pushing the micro game.
Yeah.
Now that it's like, okay, so it's normal.
From Software. From Software never does
Software
that shit.
is very good. We like From Software.
Years ago, I learned how Midway and the creators screwed the actors out of tons of money by lying about the impact and value of the series and said they'd have their backs and didn't give them anything for the console ports. They didn't even know there were going to be console ports. They just thought it was exclusively going to be on arcades, and they were told a far lower number that was like 1/10. They're stars and they deserve a break. But instead, the Mortal Kombat creators live in mansions, and the actors who collaborated on everything with them and believed in them while being friends still to this day have to work hard just to survive. And they were more responsible for the creation of the series than many are led to believe. Daniel Pesina, for example, taught most of the characters their moves and trained them only to receive like 1/1,000,000th of the value the games have created. That's why he sued Midway and was given the title of co-creator for both Mortal Kombat 1 and 2. But Warner Bros. Tries to hide this and almost solely give Ed Boon credit. I can understand why. It's in their best interest to kind of push that under the rug, but it's kind of sad knowing that they barely got anything, and we're kind of treated like we're going to have your back and we're all friends, and helped create this series only to get almost nothing from it. And it was actually because of Daniel Pesina, his likeness not being considered to represent him when they just asked a bunch of fans or something. They asked a certain number of fans, and it wasn't a high enough percentage of them that said that looked like Johnny Cage from the game for him to win the lawsuit. But Midway had like 50 some lawyers against his like one, so he didn't really have a chance there. The toxic culture comes from the top and leads for far too many to be upset about small issues or non-issues, such as jiggly boob physics and outfits being revamped. That is such an issue in this community. Well, people don't seem to understand that fighting games have a massive gender imbalance, partially due to the underrepresentation of strong female characters that women can identify with the same as men, and how being overly focused on this looks weird from the outside and prevents the situation from becoming more equal like in other communities. And to tell you the truth, I find the females sexier and more realistic this way. It's no wonder why, with all these problems, interest in Mortal Kombat has been dying over time, if you look at Google Trends, and has been since MKX despite increased game sales. Largely because of this, we started doing reactions to other creators' art to give them more exposure, well aware of the lack of it they receive, despite whether or not these videos did well on our channel, to form a community better than the one we witnessed along the way. Too many animators, illustrators, stop-motion artists, mask creators, Mortal Kombat parodyists, and cosplayers were not getting enough recognition. And we aim to change this. It's a lot of why I started Combat COVID, to raise funds with these same creative people to help save lives, and why we started making mask and costume unboxings and tutorial videos. We wanted to give more appreciation for their work, and experienced many uncomfortable masks and costumes.
Look at this.
Look how much
Look what this thing does to me. Oh. The mesh is
you turn this way, toward the light. No, show that way. There's like a big mark right there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what him wearing masks does to his nose. And wanted to help fix this problem and encourage others to follow in our footsteps. We love seeing, people who are far more talented when it comes to cosplays, or Brothers in Crime, for example, in the parody department, when we saw their fight, their
big old fight, the Mortal Kombat tournament fight. It's like, bravo, you guys are like the future here.
The Avengers #2. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Love that.
And that's why I promoted the hell out of people like Pain Train Gaming, now known as the Arcane Pain. He renamed himself. I don't know if it's because of me exposing him or what, because I was questioning the morality of bringing others to such a toxic place and wanted to fix it by raising the voices of creators that I considered to be the heart and soul of the series. He seemed like such a great guy and had been supporting our content for years before he started getting close with my girlfriend I'd been with for 5 years. I watched and brought people to hundreds of his streams, or at least 100, and introduced many friends to him, such as Rick Pendragon and Kuroki, who wrote the script for an animation collab we did the voices for that was meant to help Pain Train, only for him to stab me in the back later and show that our friendship was all to use me. It's no secret that my mental health had been deteriorating along the way, and there's far more I've left out about the struggles experienced on this journey. But in 2017, I noticed messages on my girlfriend's phone from her ex saying, "Hey, baby." And that's always a bad sign. You know, you want to watch out for that one. If you see contact with exes that is kind of getting toward the flirtatious side, you probably have a big problem. Not that you can't be friends, they can't be friends with their exes, but red flag there. And
still red flag.
Led to a huge fight. She told me he only sends her messages when he's drunk and that she felt bad for him, so she didn't want to say anything. At this point, I started questioning more about our relationship, as I'd been cheated on previously in a very cruel way before starting the channel. But these fears passed. That was until I introduced my girlfriend to Michael Payne to support his streams, telling her how much of a great guy he was and how much I wanted to help him. While focusing on MK11, I was super stressed. We fought more and we started talking about the Arcane Pain constantly. She started talking about him. I'd wake up and she'd be watching his streams. We'd all do karaoke together. And she'd always be in his Discord and helping him out with his channel. Through time, I felt like the odd man out, like I didn't belong, and started to get a bit suspicious. I brushed it off every time, though, and when I asked her if there was something going on, she'd laugh and say, "Him? Really?" Not long after, he expressed interest in visiting us in the States, and she started talking about how much of a good guy he is and that she wished she could find him a partner. Then in October of 2019, my girlfriend told me that her dad had lung cancer and that he wanted to take a trip to Europe with her in case something happened. Because of the experience of feeling like I almost lost Anthony and others, I took it very seriously and knew it was important that they went together without me. She said her dad didn't want me to go anyways, and that the trip was personal between them, and I understood. But I started to wonder when she spent $200 to get her hair done, started focusing on losing weight and more self-care, and showed off a bunch of sexy underwear she'd gotten just before the trip. But I was too focused on our holiday videos at the time and to fully put two and two together. And I thought it might be her way of coping with the stress. But moments like those haunt me still. I gave her $1,000 for the trip, and she took it right after Christmas of 2019 and was gone for 2 weeks. I only spoke to her once, and only because I'd complained and been suspicious about not speaking to her that whole time. When she returned, she acted very cold, refused to show any pictures, saying her dad and her got too sick, and left her bags unpacked on the floor for many months. Around this time, she started becoming secretive with her phone and had changed her background from a picture of me to a generic one of the stars. She no longer would answer her phone and texted very infrequently. After the trip, I discovered that Pain Train, who was regularly active on social media and streamed almost daily, was suspiciously absent for the same days my girlfriend was on the trip with her dad in Amsterdam. She said it was a coincidence, but I started realizing how the Arcane Pain was speaking to me less, and only messaging to try to pressure me into voice acting in another animation for him after the last had gained him hundreds of followers. Then COVID happened, and she started spending more time up at her dad's. I was suspicious something was going on, but knew I was losing her. YouTube had become harder throughout the years, so I no longer had the strength to make content at this point, and this is pretty much when I disappeared. Especially since my girlfriend started saying my stress from filmings were the root of our problems. But I tried my best with Combat COVID, despite her bailing at the last second twice after offering to help. And I'm very thankful for King Shadow Cosplay, Immortal Big J, and Gurr, and all of the people that helped keep it together, and put 1,500 into the charity event myself. Months went by where I tried to fix things, romantic gestures, contemplating suicide while waiting by the phone, knowing I was failing Anthony, the fans, and everyone, feeling guilt for not having the strength to keep making content. And only through my mom's support and my friend Jessica was I able to survive those days. I also have to thank you too, Anthony, for being so understanding and not putting pressure on me and not making me feel even more stressed. You were very sweet about it, and you didn't at all give me any feelings of extra pressure, and you understood and were always there for me. So thank you for that too.
You're welcome, man. It's not what I intend to do. I want you to be happy and healthy. That's all.
You as well, my brother.
If I see you having a problem, and you're dealing with something, and you just do it. You gotta do what you gotta do. I'm not gonna change you. I'm not gonna make you feel bad. What's that gonna do?
I know, but it was very hard for you. I recognize it was very hard for you when I was canceling filmings at the last second, when I didn't give you much of any information because I didn't know what to do, what was going on, what my future held, what I should do. And you had a lot of pressure from the fans asking where Sub-Zero was every video and stuff.
That was very hard not to just not know. Just keep it, lay it down, say he's doing his thing. He's make up something, a fantasy scenario where Sub-Zero would be if he would actually be somewhere. But yeah, that was it. You were dealing with some real turmoil.
Yeah, and it was constant. It was daily. I was realizing things and lots of gaslighting, and that's kind of what this video is about, is to explain to people in case I do have to go, doing what I didn't do the last time, and giving that information so that he doesn't have to, and nobody has to wonder the reasoning for it. And I know it's been long, but I'm getting close to the end here. So
hopefully we'll put chapters in.
Thank you for joining me for this. It usually auto puts chapters in these days, but yeah, I might do that. I tried to confide in Kuroki and Rick Pendragon, but both treated me like I was crazy. Truth was, the gaslighting was driving me there. I did everything to fix our relationship, even worked at Amazon and gave her $6,000 to help pay down her credit card because she said it was the first step in us having a baby together, and that she needed money to help pay for her dad not working while sick. I really wanted to have a baby, so that was very heavily influenced me. We had baby-making plans written out around that time, and then once a week she was around, she'd assure me I wasn't being sympathetic enough to her situation and that nothing was wrong between us. I even tried to propose to her with Kuroki's help, but she was always tired when she arrived, and there were a million questions driving my sanity away and making me doubt her. But I wanted to believe because I'd never loved anyone so much before and had become so dependent on her for my mental strength. But it almost killed me every day, and eventually during the summer one night, when I was able to pick her up from work unexpectedly, which I was so excited to. Upon picking her up, we went to McDonald's, and I noticed her phone background was of the same ex that said, "Hey baby," and a 5-year-old boy. She assured me it wasn't him and that she had fallen for someone else, I guess that looked just like him, but mainly had interest in helping the child. For several months I bought that story and still believed her dad was sick. But eventually I learned that the whole time she was gone had been to live on the streets with her ex, who had had a kid with another woman around the time we got together. Though I didn't know at the time, the The money I gave her supported his alcoholism and them living on the streets. And soon after that, we found out that the one time my mom had used her credit card on my girlfriend's Lyft and DoorDash accounts had been enough to be abused by her from April to November, totaling $7,000 in stolen food and taxi costs from my mom's credit card. I'm not sure how it took my mom so long to notice, but my girlfriend was buying food for her ex and her and using Lyft to get to work and to my place. Once confronted, she broke all contact and refused to speak to my mom about a payment plan. We opened a fraud investigation to recoup the funds, but fearing her getting arrested and attempting to kill herself, and through my own self-hatred, thinking I'd somehow caused it, and that it was all my fault like my dad had taught me many years before, we just let it be. Around the same time in December, after months of asking her to put her bags away, I discovered a 2-person dildo hidden in my room. In her bag was a vibrating penis ring from a shop that's only in Ireland, where Payne's from. And the final proof needed was a bag tag showing a flight from Portland to Ireland directly. Once confronted, she tried to deny it, to lie her way out of it. But I wouldn't believe her, so she eventually admitted it and said that there's something wrong with her and that she only wanted to help him. That Payne didn't know about this other guy. After all that, I still bought her $250 worth of gifts for Christmas to help her stay warm on the streets during winter, feeling like it was still all my fault, and drew a picture for her birthday. I didn't hear from her until mid-January when she asked if my mom could help her as a reference for getting a place with her ex. My mom refused and I haven't heard from her since, so it's been a little over a year. When I confronted Payne about it, he blocked me. And when I told Kuroki and Rick Pendragon, they both acted shocked but continued to be friends with him, and largely ignored me. This was especially hard because they saw me deteriorate over time, and how close I was to ending it, and their response showed how little that mattered to them. They apparently are still unaware of how they're enabling him, and contributed to the gaslighting and feeling like I deserved this by taking sides. Kuroki said she'd stop being friends with all of us, but still interacts with Payne to this day, which felt like betrayal after what I'd shared along the way. Rick Pendragon's case is different, as he told me he wouldn't stop being friends with him until his Mortal Kombat cock-up series is complete. In other words, he's using him and doesn't care about the help we provided or supporting someone so toxic and how immoral that is for your own gain. Suffice to say, we won't be reacting to any more of his videos. And his passive-aggressive tweets about how he used to support us but won't now because we won't move on aren't helping anything. I'm sure he would be bothered too if someone did this to him and prevented him from doing what he loved. Because of all of this, coming back was so hard, but I felt guilty for how hard Anthony had to work, for not properly saying goodbye to you guys, and didn't want what they'd done to defeat me or what we've built together. But despite the hundreds of comments asking for Sub-Zero to return, unfortunately ever since I did, our channel has moved lower and lower to a slow death. And with every video we release, it only gets worse. I blame Pain Train and my ex for how long I had to disappear and the damage it caused to our channel. And also YouTube, Warner Bros, and the higher-ups who work for them for sabotaging us all along the way and never giving us even the slightest of opportunities. To this day, Payne refuses to remove our animation that was created through manipulation and continues to try and stream. We've tried so many different things, yet the holiday skits are getting a fourth the views of before, and despite great watch time and solid ideas this year, the holiday months are the lowest in 7 years. They're half the views of our worst holiday seasons. So skits are not the solution. Old Mortal Kombat games, other fighting games, new MK games, none of it's working, unfortunately. Not being able to film together because of the distance and COVID also isn't helping. And we're still unable to sleep before filmings. My past still haunts me, especially because Payne joined our Thanksgiving premiere to offer support, supposedly, after I finally got the courage to share my story on Twitter. It seemed like a passive-aggressive form of pressure, which he confirmed by saying he wouldn't leave me alone until I stopped tweeting about him. In March of 2021, I was finally able to move on and met the most amazing, supportive girlfriend I could ever ask for through our videos. And I live with her now down in Mexico. She joined me during the Thanksgiving premiere and has been the sweetest, most loving human I've ever met. I'm grateful to have met her through our videos, but after the premiere that he interrupted, she decided to confront Pain Train on Twitter, and he admitted to what he'd done, but wasn't at all apologetic. He said that he didn't tell me because I was suicidal and they were afraid of that me killing myself wouldn't have been good for him, that he blocked me because he didn't like what I was saying, and that if I ever want to be an adult and talk about it, we can, but to leave him alone until then. If he truly cared about me, he wouldn't have gotten with my girlfriend secretly, or tried to use me, and would have been honest far earlier. If he thought they were going to be serious and live together, I'd have eventually found out. I lost another friend this way who is often someone that connects the Mortal Kombat actors and the creators of the games, like Boone and Tobias, with content creators. Months after sharing my story, I was surprised to see this friend who'd previously invited us to NetherRealm Studios after all the years of working to be accepted, had seemingly forgotten about us due to my absence, and created a video celebrating and promoting different Mortal Kombat creators. His list of people are often those that get access to events and special opportunities, and it hurt to not be included and once again shunned. It was clear after all the years that we'd never be accepted, but much worse was that Pain Train was part of this group, which meant he was likely to get promotions from the company and become far more prevalent reminder of the past, which was making it hard to fix the channel. I told this person about Pain Train, and he said he wouldn't work with him in the future, which I believed until my friend Jessica showed me a post of Pain's he had liked after saying so, that he was still following him, and a tweet of Pain's saying that he was about to work with this person and soon maybe even Boone himself. Panicked about the possibility of things getting even harder and under emotional distress, I really didn't want to see him all over the Mortal Kombat community when I was already having so much trouble with it. I sent out a tweet saying I was surprised he was still going to work with them after what he knew. It was mostly just to put pressure for that not to happen, for him not to be accepted into this wing that would mean that I would have to see him far more often. It wasn't outside the realm of possibility because of the other two friends that I had who had turned and still been friends even after saying that they wouldn't. And it didn't make sense why Pain would be making it up. And I'd at this point learned of some of the twisted manipulation this person had convinced others to do to get access, such as helping him move during the peak of COVID before vaccines were even available, when no one else besides this creator was wearing a mask, and it made this individual feel like they were risking their life for an opportunity. It seems many need to suck up or do favors or give gifts to even get the smallest amount of access. In other words, it seems to be all for a power or ego trip. And that's not something we'll ever partake in. They should respect us for the love we have for their games and all we've sacrificed, and help us for how we've helped them. But all too often in this community, it's about greed and just taking advantage of people. That's a lot of why it's so hard for me to be here. After confronting this person, a bunch of his friends shamed me that I was tarnishing his reputation with my tweet, that I should have messaged him in private despite them not even hearing the full story, and that I'm not supposed to be able to be upset about all of this like I was. They felt like members of a cult blindly reacting in accordance with their leader. My friend Jessica, after seeing me fall apart and helping at the expense of her own mental health or having more time with her children, decided to jump in and defend me, and discovered how this person had a 9gag account spouting hateful, racist, sexist, anti-trans, and many homophobic posts, even joking about trans people dying and labeling Muslims as suicide bombers. The same person who appears to be the most community-oriented in public was using the same account name on 9gag to promote their videos and spread hatred for many years, until they deleted it fearing others would notice. Those that find this out tend to ignore it though, praying instead that if they act kind and obedient, they'll get an opportunity, that they'll finally be noticed and recognized for all their hard work. But you shouldn't have to sell your soul to do so. And it's a slippery slope and says a lot about them and the lack of faith they have in their work, to go against their beliefs to succeed, to sell out. This person said before the situation that this situation's destroying their life, without acknowledging how them being able to help us but choosing not to, and the toxicity they and their friends spread, making people feel like they don't belong and picking and choosing who gets support in such a messed up way, has damaged so many lives in this community. What I'm trying to say is I learned I can't trust most creators here, because even the nicest, most community-oriented I've found are often rotten to their core and just intend to use you. That makes it difficult to collaborate. I know that there's plenty of great people out there, but I have trust issues. But thankfully, along the way, I've met countless kind people who show that this community is worth it, that there are plenty of great people still, and that it can get better. Mask makers like Mox Designs and Sinister Props, fans, friends, Anthony's wife Missy and all the support she's given. I love you guys and thank you for rooting me on all these years and helping me find a sense of purpose and value when I had none, for listening to my story, and for all the years of your motivating comments and love. Those of you with hard lives, I did this for you. And I will miss you if I have to go. I pushed through the pain thinking of all of you and how sweet you were and how much we owed you for believing in us. For that, I'm eternally grateful. But my future here depends on how this channel goes in the next few weeks. I don't mean to put pressure on it, but if we can't get enough viewers to feel like we can make a difference here and that it's only going to get worse and worse, I'll have to say my goodbyes because it's still so hard to make content. And if I'm only bringing others into a largely toxic place, I can't agree with that and need to set my sights on helping in other ways. Though it'll be hard to say goodbye if I have to, it's not truly, and there's a positive future ahead as I plan to get more involved in voice acting, make another channel maybe dedicated to playing other games, write a choose-your-own adventure book, and create maybe an indie video game that I've been meaning to for some time. I love you guys. I love you, bro. And here's to Bizarrely Funny living on in your hearts and minds forever, regardless of what happens. I wish you all the best. And if there's anything that you would like to say as well, since I went through a lot of stuff and didn't give you any moment to speak, feel free, my brother.
You had a lot to get through, man. You had a lot to get through. A lot of the stuff you told me, but not a lot of those. Some of those details were new and disturbing to me. I haven't gotten as deep as him. My time is zero when it comes to what I can do here. It's film, edit, thumbnail, post. I have no other spare time for anything. I can't look at social. I can look at comments if I rush through them. But as far as engaging, he's done all of it. You're probably talking to him if you're talking to somebody. So all of this community stuff is in the dark to me, but to him, it's hitting him in the heart. And so it's the way it's affecting him. I mean, where I am with what I'm used to doing, with what I do for this channel, from my experiences, if I've been positive when as opposed to yours, which is Jesus.
There are many great people. There are many great people, as I said, within this community, and I don't want to give the impression that it's just a bunch of toxic people. But having to interact with those types of people that I mentioned and having to have fear that there are more out there that are like them because of the ones I trusted that failed, and it's made me question a lot. And I don't care about the money really so much. It's more, like I said, that if we're not making a big enough impact in this community that I see has a lot of toxicity, I feel guilt for bringing people into this community and them not being aware necessarily that what they're entering is this kind of ruthless, cutthroat place. I mean, maybe you could presume that because of Mortal Kombat being fatalities and stuff, but there's this really dark side to it. And I think that a lot of people that we bring, unfortunately, have to see that. And if we're not able to have more of an impact in changing that, then I feel like I'm mostly bringing people to a negative place from what I've seen. I know that your content you release and we release together is very positive, and it's a double-edged sword. Existing somewhere where there's a lot of toxicity or a problem that you want to be fixed, you, on one hand, you want to make it better and you want to exist, but that's also what makes it so hard to exist there, is just what you're up against. And it's greed and judgmental people. There's so many within this community, and yet there's also so many fantastic people that we've met, and people that have shared their stories with us, what they've been through. I had an overwhelming response when I made this community post saying I may have to leave, and the tweet, and I even shared it as an Instagram story. The response from people has been so heartwarming. It gives me a lot of faith in this community, but it's also very hard to change when that starts all the way up there at the top too. There's a lot of people that are very high up in the community that only care about money and are very cutthroat. And I think that's important for you guys to understand. And yeah, I've had a hard time with that over the years. But you've made it very easy for me. A lot of you out there in the community have really rooted me on over this time, and I appreciate and love you guys, and you too, Anthony, and everything that you've done on your end. You've constantly been pushing for me to keep at it, and also being very understanding. Thank you guys for your empathy and for your support over these years, and for how you've helped in every different way you've helped. Even just liking our videos is significant to us.
Yeah, there's a separate component. There's a difference. We're not talking about the audience. We're not talking about you guys as being the people that might be the reason for him having a hard time. It's the peers. It's the people across from you. And
the people they choose. Yes. Not all of them are bad, and I don't mean to...
I can say that with anything, any venture, any big conglomerate, any kind of big chain, there's going to be the business types, right? The sociopaths that have no caring in the world for damage done to any one person or family. It's because it's business. And I know so many in mine that how they think and how it works. And it doesn't make any sense to me how to think that way. So just, that's why, I can have my place and not be as affected a little, I don't want this to sound like goodbye for me, or us. He's going to be my cousin forever. I mean, he's my family. He's my blood. So our relationship's not going to change at all. What he chooses to do, or what we choose to do, with whatever happens later on, if I stay, I will definitely stay doing what I do here. But it's restricting him as well from doing what creatively he wants. And the whole point of this is to have freedom. And YouTube makes it very hard to have it. I mean, you have it, but to be successful and have it at the same time is very hard. You have to do so many other things. YouTube is just like this little sliver of what can make you successful, and everything else is all of you guys. In various different ways, merchandising, other forms of that kind of thing, which I don't want to do.
Well, yeah, there was a little bit of, it got a little misconstrued when I let out that message. I wasn't saying I definitely am going to go, and there were many people who believed that from it. They took from it, because I did say unless a miracle happens. I was hoping, and I'm still hoping for a miracle. I am still hoping for this to get out of this hole it's in. I do think it's possible. I do think your help, you guys' help, could fix that. I don't know. I'm not trying to put that pressure. Who knows? It might have to do with YouTube, the algorithm, everything else like that. But I still have hope. I have not left yet. I also don't think he's going to stop making content, as he said. So he's going to keep plugging it along. And even if I do go, who's to say it's going to be forever? I might just need a break away from this, and having been able to share this with you guys has taken a weight off. It's made it much easier for me to move forward. I think you guys can, if you got to the end of this video, which thank you if you did, you understand us a lot more. You understand where I'm coming from, why it's so difficult, and what decisions we've made along the way, why we've made them. Much love to all of you for supporting us for all this time. Here's a heart. Oh, that doesn't look like a heart. Maybe like this. Yeah, something like that.
We do this. Right?
Yeah, that one.
The new one. The new one. They do this.
And
I don't know where that's from at all.
Love to you, bro, as well. I'm gonna send you guys a virtual hug here, and thank you for all your support along this long time journey. We're just about to be to 12 years of making Mortal Kombat content. March 31st marks the 12 years since our first Mortal Kombat video came out, but we had to film that weeks before. So we're coming upon that very, very shortly. And it's been a rocky journey, but in many ways I'm very thankful to have grown through this and been able to express myself creatively and do all of these different exciting ventures. There's just been a lot that's hit me in life, a lot of stress, and a lot of hard moments that have made it to where I may need to kind of reevaluate and take a step back. And I do worry that maybe I came back a little bit too early. I kind of wanted to make it up to all of you guys, and I saw that something was about to come out with the movie and thought, okay, maybe this is my opportunity to make it up, and it may have been a little bit too soon. And also the residual stuff with what had happened with my ex and him just continuing to hover around, it caused more problems for me too. I don't get to ignore it. I have to kind of constantly be confronted by it. And it wasn't until December of 2020 that I found out that fully. So I had stopped YouTube at that point, but here again, I started in March after that. So it wasn't a very long time to be able to have a break away from that, because from December on, I was still processing it for quite a while after that. And if I go, maybe that's all I need, you know, so. Thank you all for being understanding and for listening, and we hope that you guys have a good day regardless of all this BS I just shared with you. And I love you, and yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Come on, just
I'm
go.
awkward as myself.
Just go, you guys. Thank you for watching this movie, this feature-length film of BizarrelyFunny's truth.
And
so,
have
yeah,
have a good
have
day.
a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.